I know somebody who's got like a. Oh, that was it. I knew somebody I went to school with. Her name was. It was. I can't remember her first name, but it was. That was it. Rhea River Brown, Georgia or something like that. That was her full name. It was properly like. But like, who the fuck names their kid River Brown in any sort of way? Like, oh yay, it's my child, Shit River.
Loses diarrhea.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just asking for bullying.
Blowing after curry night.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, one of the kids that comes to the yard. He's called Reef, and his sister is called Coral.
Oh, you see, I think I was going to be called Ocean, so I'm glad of that.
I know somebody who his name's Cameron, but his parents didn't know how to spell it, so they rang up my other mate's parents, like in 1999, to be like, "Hey, Cameron has two O's in it, right?" So they officially named him Cameroon. Yeah, which is that would be the best name. Just, hi, is there a Cameron here? No, it's not Cameron. It's Cameroon.
See, I was almost called Anakin as well, so
we actually. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. Oh, that's
it. I'm off this podcast now.
Hey, you made enough sheep shagging jokes at me. Why, Anakin? Are your parents just massive Star Wars fans?
The Force.
Are your parents just massive? Wow. Okay. How would that
use the force of the waves, son?
I mean this in a very wholehearted, loving way.
My favour.
You would have been ripped the shit into for your entire childhood, just for that.
True, but if I'd have got anywhere with a lady, I could have whipped out my lightsaber and,
You could have had glow-in-the-dark
she
condoms.
Could have been my
Just you. Do you guys want to get on with it?
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Proof of Concept, the podcast about concept cars, which I forgot to put in. Hi, I'm Alex.
I'm Will.
I'm Perrin.
Oh, I mean, where should we time that? We could have all had one each. Anyway, this is this is us for today, and we're going to skip through the usual catch-up because we've got quite a bulky one today. So, I'm just going to wrap it with, I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Alive and well.
That's something, Perrin.
I'm alright, I suppose. Yeah, I'm alright, I suppose,
You're not Perrin, you're Will.
Same old.
God.
Anyway. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm Will.
So.
Oh, yeah.
So then, Will, this one's your episode. So tell me, what brand are we looking at today?
Drum roll, please. Subaru. Subaru have always been a big passion for me. I loved Subaru since I was a kid. With Top Gear, everyone knows Top Gear, and Top Gear has been the epicenter of my car-loving nature. And watching the Impreza and the Outback that we see on the screen, seeing that on telly has really drummed it home. And doing a little bit of research, digging into the history, what they have done, and what they are currently doing. I've cherry-picked 4 little nice nuggets that I think I need to share. I need to bring this upon everyone to see.
Before we touch on that, I want to say I always find it interesting that you say you got your love of the Impreza from Top Gear, because do you know where I got my love of the Impreza from? Genuinely.
Speak.
Police interceptors. Because they had that really weird time in history where, for whatever reason, they were equipped with nothing but Evos and Imprezas, and I never understood why, but yeah, that was always a really cool part of the mid-2000s. And something I have to explain to my my American friends all the time, that, oh yeah, no, the police had rally cars for a time, just casually,
Yeah, just normal Panda cars happen to be faster than pretty much anything else. So yeah, it's fine. We weren't all driving around in diesel Astras.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. So go on, Farron.
My love for Subarus came from a bit of a left field source, and it was Gran Turismo.
So I've never actually played Gran Turismo.
Hands up! What? I will admit I am a Gran Turismo bitch, and I prefer that any day over Forza.
I've never played Gran Turismo, so I can't say.
Weak, uncultured.
See, If you think the selection of Japanese cars in Forza is lacking, then just play Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah, literally. There is nothing but because I don't understand, but for some reason they have, for example, the Toyota Yaris. That was the Vitz in Japan. They
Yeah.
have both versions of exactly the same car.
That's
Depends on if you
hilarious.
want the EU market name or the JDM name. It's fantastically terrible.
Hey, if you want
you've got a
to,
used.
sorry, go on.
No, sorry. You get a used car market as well, which means you can buy crappy old Japanese stuff in game.
And
It's like real life, but less depressing.
but here's the thing: is it is as depressing because they actually change the values depending on which market you're in. Because the current game, I know this. I sort of read this the other day in Gran Turismo. If you're in Japan, your used market will be full of more Japanese cars, and the more expensive ones are like your imports from outside. So anything that wasn't sold originally at domestic market, it's more expensive because of import fees, which I find brilliant. I think that's an amazing thing to include. I am going to wrap up by saying though, if you want a game a racing game that has a weird selection of like hyper specific Japanese cars, or any car really, you need the PS2 game Enthusia, because in that game, for whatever reason, you can get a Suzuki Wagon R Plus as one of your starter cars.
Yes. Toaster Mafia for the win.
Yeah, it's that. I think a Daihatsu Sirion, which I think I saw for the first time in real life ever yesterday, which was cool. Apparently, they were also a Subaru. Tie into they got a 4-wheel drive version.
The
Justy
Justy.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
I posted up on my TikTok about that yesterday, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, they were a Subaru." I was like, "Oh, okay," but yeah.
And then somebody commented, "Oh, for the YRV Turbo," and then I got a message off you going, Patron, you used to have one of those, didn't you?
Still workshopping that accent, I see. He's still getting the impression nailed down.
It's,
It's better
yeah,
than
I did
most.
it really well once, but
Yeah, you know.
it goes a bit wavy. It depends.
In fairness, it's quite hard to do a Welsh accent without sounding Indian, and I say that as somebody who tries to do like a harsher Welsh accent all the time and comes out as Indian. It's very depressing. So, Subaru.
No comment.
Do you guys want to go on to the first car?
Go ahead.
So, Will, my friend, what are we looking at here?
Oh no!
Awfulness.
I hear Parrot fearing already.
Aaron,
we're not going to
we've
talk
discussed
about the
this
roof
in therapy.
Look,
we will not mention the roof canopies.
It's not
we were
my
here
fault.
for a week last time.
It's not my fault. The roof
is your
canopies
fault.
suck. The roof canopies are stupid. What's the point? It's a pillarless door.
Right, and it ends there. Okay, so this is the Estremo. Right, shut up. Be quiet, cease. So this is the Estremo thing. Because it is a thing, frankly. The Estremo F624. So Subaru have been known to do wacky things. You know, take the B9 Tribeca, which is gopping to look at, yet has a 3.6 litre flat six. Come again. That's, its own little bundle of strangeness, and the boxer unit has been defined effectively by Subaru. And here, the glue sticks have definitely been sniffed and probably licked by the Subaru department in 1987, hence the Estremo. So, to me, this has headlights from a Honda Beat, has the body lines of a Ford Granada Scorpio, and has the interior and apparently TV station, if you look at the bottom right little screen, of something disgusting and from Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner.
Yeah, do you know what? I kind of agree. Do you know, the thing is, the longer I look at this, the more it looks like a squished espas at the front. A bit of a glass egg on top, and just every 90s car at the back. It's a bit of a weird with this. I seem to look at it, and it genuinely looks more and more generic every time I look at it. Apart from that roof, which has these stupid canopies, which I don't.
Stop talking about the roof.
Right,
we need to finish this today.
Right, I will briefly wrap up my problem with these canopies because I don't understand what the point is. If they came off, that would be one thing, but they don't. They hinge. So that just makes it a more complicated way of getting in and out. There's going to be more places for it to leak, and it means that, like, what? You just open it so you can get out the door easier? I don't want to open 2 doors. Anyway, that's all I needed to say on these stupid canopies, because they're stupid canopies. Because I know last time that conversation went on for a while. This is the second recording to anyone listening. Things did not go quite so well the last time. But yeah, apart from that glass roof and the canopies, this just looks like a generic car from the time. Apart from the interior, which is lacking in features, but I think that's more of just it being a concept, because you don't have to really put a lot of stuff on a concept inside.
For me, sorry.
So you continue.
The interior looks like, I don't know. I was thinking either a lavatory with veneer attached to it, or one of those wards that they have in hospitals where they don't want people to injure themselves, so they make everything round and smooth.
Yeah.
And
Padded cell, effectively.
yeah, it looks like one of them
It's not a particular
with TV screens.
It looks like a business class airplane sort of seat, but not on a particularly prestigious airline.
Ryanair
seats.
I mean, you're lucky to get seats on Ryanair. You know, they wanted to have you stood up on flights for a long time.
Cool. Pack them in like sardines, eh?
Literally,
But
that's what they wanted to do.
And they certainly packed features into this heap of weirdness, because, excuse me, there was nothing ordinary about anything that powered this, because this was a 24 valve intercooled twin turbo 2.7 litre flat 6, which is in itself
It's a
is
pretty
quite a
impressive
feat.
engine, yeah.
Exactly. Tack that onto, for some strange reason, a CVT, continuously variable trash, because it's awful. Yeah, it is the worst thing. It sounds like a cow that is dying of blood loss. But that is also tacked to a full-time four-wheel drive system with continual front rear torque split and four-wheel steering.
See,
There's nothing normal about this, and that's what I love, because it's generic yet pushes that boundary of being that little bit odd.
that's the thing I find a bit odd. You list off all of those features there, and this again, you said 87, wasn't it? This one.
Yep.
So all of those features and everything, you released that to America at the time in a BMW badge or a Mercedes badge. That would sell great. And you kind of style it a bit more, style it a bit more.
Less generic.
Yeah, I could see that selling really well, but for the Subaru brand, because you got to bear in mind, especially in the US market, but all over the world, outside of Japan, really, Subaru did not have much of a foothold until sort of the 90s, with Colin McRae and what have you, genuinely building the brand a lot in Europe, and things like the Subaru Leon or Leone or however it's pronounced in the States. I think I should tell. I think it's the Loyal over there. So up until this point, they didn't have much of a stake in the market. So I have to wonder why they went, yeah, that's because this is effectively a sporty luxury sedan. Yeah? I can't understand why they decided to go for that, especially when they didn't really build anything like that up until this point. I mean, was the SVX before or after this?
Oh. There was one before this, but it was basically styled with a ruler. And the one that we all know and love with strange windows, that was after this, I think. I think that was early 90s.
I'm Googling it now.
Da-da-da-da.
So, first one was 1991, apparently.
Way! I was correct.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. So yeah, the one I'm thinking of is 1991, and there was a previous generation, which was the one you're on about. The angly one is the Subaru XT Alcione, or something like that. Well, Alcione.
Al Capone.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't understand.
The Subaru
It
Al
comes with a
Capone.
free mafia boss. Yep.
Looks like a Honda Prelude, but somehow squarer.
How they've achieved this, I do not know.
Yeah, but I had like neither the Alcyon or Alcione or Al Capone or whatever, or the SVX did well. I don't
No.
understand why they developed this. I mean, how far in the development did? I mean, I'm assuming they had a production and a working
A
mod.
working prototype.
Yeah, did it run?
I'm not sure from what I am aware, because not only did it have all of those bits tacked onto it, it had electro-pneumatic suspension, variable assist steering that was electric, um, and had a very revolutionary ABS system. So trying to get all of those things to come together at one in
Yeah.
1987 at least is like trying to join two bricks with a playing card. And I don't know if they ever made it as a functional entity and being.
But they at least had a model that you could look at these stupid roof panels on and get into, but looks things because that is a there are photos there clearly of an actual model, and not just renderings. I think. I'm also trying to piece together what the point of this computer system is, because it just seems to be like, is it telling you where the seats are? I mean, what infotainment do you need in 1987? I mean, you need radio, potentially a car phone. Oh, well, yep, they got a car phone down here, which for some reason has a photo of an Asian lady on the phone. Don't know why they've done that.
Well,
Yes.
I
I'm
mean,
guessing as the car was, well, I'm guessing as Subaru's from Japan, it would probably make sense that it's an Asian lady, but I'm not too sure.
okay, admittedly, I'll give that does make sense. I sound a bit stupid now. Thanks for that. But
All right, I was going to say, there's probably somewhere in the infotainment system for like the stock exchange or something, so you can watch your stocks plummet.
yes, I can watch the Japanese market collapse in live time. Oh, look at that bubble economy go down in flames. No more four-wheel steering cars for me. Yeah, that's a weird thing. Why would
Bubble
cars?
has been popped.
I mean, unfortunately, the bubble hasn't been popped on this one yet. I mean, look at the top of it. That is disgusting. It is just.
Stop talking about the top.
I'm on about the glass in general, not just the canopies. God damn it.
I love causing arguments. The harbinger of chaos.
Why did Japanese car companies all start doing four-wheel steering systems in the 90s? Because Honda did it, Subaru at least had the idea with it, you know. I think even Alfa did it at one point. Yeah, the GTV, which I know Alfa is famously not a Japanese company. But what? Yeah, the 90s had loads of four-wheel steering for some reason, and then it just kind of went away.
I don't know. But I was going to say the new Audi A8 has four-wheel steering, and personally, four-wheel steering I think is sick. It is very
It is.
difficult to engineer and expensive, but as with everything, if you make enough of it, it suddenly becomes cheap. So
Well,
I would push for that because
it's quite
every
cheap.
car should be four-wheel steering.
It's quite
Personally,
cheap to do now because obviously we have electric steering racks. Obviously back then you have to do an actual hydraulic connection with mechanical bits. Now, have you seen the new GMC Hummer? Of the way they've
yeah,
advertised
the crab.
yeah, my favorite thing is the video they've got of it doing the crab. There is very clearly space for it to just drive around the thing normally, so it's an entirely pointless advert. I don't know why they went with that, but at least it is a cool piece of tech. So now you can move your slightly, hard to maneuver vehicle around something mildly easier. But yeah, no, it is it's a shame with this. I mean, the back I quite like. It's a very dramatic looking back end, but the rest of it just looks like any 90s car. And you'd think,
It is car.
yeah, you'd think if they're going to go with all this revolutionary tech, because a lot of car companies do that. They have a revolutionary tech concept, and they just make it look bonkers. So they can go, look how mad it is. Then they catch your attention, and then you kind of like the technology, and then they develop it further into cars. Whereas I look at this, and maybe that makes me feel like, oh, well, what they were actually trying to do here was actually develop it into a real car, because that's why it looks so conservative and sellable for the well, this probably would have come out in the early 90s. And as a result, nobody really cared for it, and perhaps that's why they never made it. Perhaps, I don't know. It just seems a bit, a bit of a missed opportunity. I also couldn't see who would want to buy this either, especially in the late 80s. Because again, with a BMW badge, maybe. No salaryman is buying a Subaru in 87.
Nope. Lesbian mainly.
This is before the lesbians. The lesbians didn't get onto the Imprezas and the wagons and all that until the
It's the
90s.
closeted lesbians.
This the salaried lesbians.
Yeah.
So 3 salaried lesbians in 1987 would have bought this.
Yep. Only 3. And then one would lose it in a car park.
Yeah, yeah.
And one would be aroused by the little Asian lady in the picture of the screen.
Hang on a minute. Does that count as a hate crime? Are we going to get cancelled on it? It's fine.
I don't know.
So final thoughts then,
Might have
lads.
Go on, Parent, you first. You've been quiet. You've been quietest.
It's all right, I suppose. It's red. It's got stupid canopies that we're not going to talk about again, thankfully.
Canopies, stupid canopies.
The interior's very white with a bit of veneer, and seems like a bit of a motif for other Subarus. It's the screens are all blue.
I think that's just because that's what screens were back in the day.
No, because they had green ones.
That's true. Yeah. Chrysler had a green touchscreen in the 80s in a car.
I know.
Well, Buick did with the Riata.
That was
a touchscreen.
Yeah, that's it. Buick, not Chrysler. But yeah, and it actually worked as a flick. Because you can only touch certain points of the screen that actually work. So it's basically the buttons are kind of under the screen kind of thing. Interesting way they did it. But yeah, I can't believe they thought to do that back in '87. Very, very ahead of the time, Buick there. A shame they, only exist to sell to China now. That's literally all they're there for.
Way fun.
Anyway, Will, seeing as you did the thing I used to do as a teacher, which is where you pick on the quiet kid and make them speak in front of the class, it's your turn now. What are your thoughts on the Estremo?
It's not bonkers enough outside. Inside is not bonkers. It's just odd, but I like that. I like little idiosyncrasies. I like it, and with all these, engineering attributes that would have been implemented, I think this could have had a lot of potential had the right market come along at the right time. This is either too early, too late. It just never really would fit in. But I love it for that. It doesn't fit in. And if it had the opportunity to be a real entity, it would definitely be an underappreciated classic, personally.
See, I've got similar views. I think if they made this... Okay, I think the outside is, quite generic. I think if you'd made this 10 years later and put a legacy body over the top of it, keep all that tech, because I think the tech inside it is great. You put a legacy body over the top. Give the legacy a twin-turbo flat six, rather, not V6. Give it that four-wheel steering. Give it all that sort of actual clever tech. And then obviously, because 10 years later, you would have been able to make all these screens and all that a bit more useful, a little bit more infotainment-y. Because especially you look 1997, you're looking at people having DVD players and things in cars. I think you could have made that. I think you could have sold that really well, and I think people would have bought that in droves. Because again, Subaru had a bit more of a foothold by 97 between Colin McRae, the lesbians, all of that. They had more of a place to go with it. And I think, perhaps if that's the way they'd gone, we could have seen some form of the Estremo in existence. But I think as this exists, I couldn't see this ever needing to exist or ever being particularly popular. But yeah. So, are we wrapped up on the Estremo, my boys?
We are wrapped.
So, on
it is ready for Christmas.
Will, what am I looking at?
The bills, effectively. If you read it wrong, it says bills. But
I got bills I gotta pay.
It's not going to do that because it's not real. And it's a shame.
No.
Because I really, really like this.
Same kind of...
Oh, excuse me. It's again, different. It's got the nose of a Tribeca, but toned down to actually be presentable without making you want to vomit everywhere. And has its own little idiosyncrasies, a bit like the Estremo, where it's different yet not too much. So B, as I've wanted to know with the Tribeca, it's the B9. But this being the B11S, B stands for boxer. 11
Okay.
apparently indicates it's a premium class, premium products,
Oh,
load of
very
bullshit.
premium.
And S stands for sportive.
I, why sport? Why did they have to go sportive? Why couldn't they just say sporty like normal people?
Or sports. I don't know, but it has definitely got sporting pretensions because this has the rear suicide doors similar to a Saturn Ion Redline and the Mazda RX-8. So this immediately has not got the feel to itself. Excuse
Yeah,
me, and
you're fighting
it seriously
in a
does not.
real you're fighting in a real saturated market there for suicide doors.
Yeah, of course. Rolls-Royce, the Vauxhall Mariva, the Saturn Ion
Oh
Redline,
God, yeah,
and
I
the
forgot.
Mazda RX-8.
And the Ford B-Max.
Oh, they're not suicide, they're sliding.
Is that? There's one of the Fords that's got it. Is it the C-Max? 'Cause I remember Fifth Gear were like, look
Nope.
how cool it is. You can step right through the middle if you took the seats out. And I'm like, yeah, so that's gonna flop around like a fish.
Yeah, that's the B-Max. That's got sliding rear doors.
Oh, look at me misremembering something. How embarrassing. I
Way.
shall now commit seppuku.
Swim poo if you're in the water. Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
I'm going to shut up now. Right. So the B11S, B11S, sorry, features a 3-liter flat six, with a twin turbocharged intercooled system, pumping out. Excuse me. 394 horsepower and 406 pounds-feet of torque. Um, wedged onto a 6-speed auto with variable torque distribution, where the torque is split between the front and rear through a center diff and an electronically controlled clutch. So torque is split 35% to the front, 65 to the rear. And if anyone with any engineering knowledge would know, that means it is rearward biased, which means drift boy.
And Drift Boy that you can correct because you have some four-wheel drive still. See,
It's just about there. It's like knowing that you've got herpes. It's there, but you're not always going to see it.
I mean, I can't say I personally know what that's like, Will. I'm not going to question you. I'm not going to judge you. Do you have herpes?
Probably. No, I do not.
But
Aaron, do you?
No, because you know I'm a Chad.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that to be a. I. When did you say this was? 2006?
3.
2003. I genuinely wonder why they never made this. Especially because you look at that interior, right? And you look at the plastics. That is terrible plastic. That looks awful. Which very much fits in with all the production cars they had at the time. That looks like a production interior on like the top trim, say, with all the blue. I wonder why they never bothered making it. This would have sold, I think. I mean,
They didn't have enough Smurfs to murder to make all the blue sections.
That was my joke from last time, Will. Stop stealing my
he
jokes.
does this. He does this. I can't.
Oh,
Which
I
joke?
remember things.
He stole a joke off me a few weeks ago. I was very upset about it. Honestly, I'm miffed. Oh.
I have Alzheimer's. Who are you? What am I doing? Why is there a computer in front of me? Shit, did I turn the gas off? Is the front door locked?
No, none of these are true. You need to go and sort them out right now. And I can slag off the B11S while you go. Actually, no, I don't want to slag off the B11S. This is a cool. This is actually a cool thing. I think they missed a trick in not making the concept a manual. I think if you'd
Yeah.
gone again, you got the RX-8 out this time. Actually, did you have the RX-8? I think the RX-8
Yeah,
wasn't far.
2003 that came out.
Yeah, there you go. So the RX-8 exists. You come into the Geneva Motor Show or wherever with it and go, hey, look, we've got this manual sports coupe 4-door family car that's rear-wheel drive bias but is still 4-wheel drive, has a big powerful engine, and you sell it at, say, Nissan 350Z RX-8 type price level. Because Subaru, again, has a performance name at this point. You've got the rally winning badge. I could have seen this selling, particularly in America, maybe not so much in Europe, but definitely in America, which would make sense as to why they've got it in a left-hand drive configuration on this concept. But yeah, It's a shame they never actually did make it. I think that has all of the promising notes you need to make a sports coupe that sells.
Yeah, it's got looks, it's got the power,
Mm.
it's got the driving dynamics to a point, and I say the looks. The inside is, as
Yeah.
Parent said, murdered Smurfs. Yeah,
Mm.
it's viable regard has been skinned alive. Um, but apparently, if you can look very closely with your eyes, which is very hard to do because it's a very small photo, um, the roof was one piece of solid glass. It was frosted as well, and it was inspired by Japanese umbrellas to create the illusion of a convertible. Um, so that sort of points to Subaru trying to put their feelers out on multiple different markets. Because if you have this as a saloon, a coupe, and a convertible all in one hit, you can hit so many markets with that, and every
Mm.
kind of lesbian will definitely be on board.
Yeah, we can get the sporty lesbians in. That's my market right there. But
The track star lesbians.
exactly. We're all big fans of the lesbians, especially us lesbians. I'm getting off track with lesbians again. I think the interior. I think you can, dial it down a bit to a sensible level of blue, like not this literally drowned in the ocean kind of blue. That would work. I think that is. I mean, again, I think it's an ugly, horrible looking material interior. I mean, you look at the plastics in there, and I can feel them just by looking at them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not very nice there, but that is what you'd expect from Subaru at the time. That's what you'd expect from Subaru now, to be honest. The styling wise, I think all right. The front's a little bit of rework needed there, and I think the back is a little bit too generic. But I fully think that is a sellable car. What about you, Pam? What would you say? What are your opinions here?
It's not too bad. If it had like a more Impreza front end on it,
Hmm.
I'd be
Yeah.
keen. I don't like the Tribeca front. Maybe like a little lip spoiler, little ducktail. Um, yeah, like the what's the one between the Hawkeye and the Blob Eye? Oh, it is the Blob Eye. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah, the Blob Eye. If it had the Blob Eye front, then I think it'd be quite nice.
Oh, I don't know. If you had the blob eye bumper, but these headlights as opposed to the blob eye headlights, because they're a bit questionable. But yeah, I think I
I
agree with
reckon
you.
this could have been like the two-door version of the Legacy.
Yeah,
Oh, Legacy
actually,
front, yeah.
I think that goes a bit back to what I was saying with the Estremo. If you made that in a legacy body and then said, "Oh, this is the you know luxury salaryman version of the legacy," you could have sold it as that. It just yeah,
And there would even be scope because this is a four-door coupe effectively. So
yeah.
only small little verminous 2.2 gremlins will end up in the back. You could make this quite happily into a shooting brake. And for me, shooter brakes are life. They are the pinnacle of styling for me because I'm strange. Um, but
If I say
there's plenty of
Z4M
scope.
to you, do you start get tingly feelings?
The Z4,
Oh, don't
I
knock the
don't like
clown
the
shoe. How can
Z4.
you not like the clown shoe? Everyone loves the clown shoe. Parent, do you like the
That's the
clown shoe?
Z3.
That's what I
What?
meant.
Sorry.
Sorry, I meant that. The clown shoe, the BMW Z3M. You like it? Yes or
Z3,
no?
fine.
Hang on.
Z4, ugly.
I didn't realize there was a Z4 shooting brake. I need to
Oh, I
find
do
this
like
out.
the Z3 clown shoe. Is there a Z4?
I need to find this
Oh,
out
no,
now.
I've got myself confused. They did a hardtop coupe version, but even that,
Ah.
I just don't like the Z4.
Do you know what? I
It's
like most of the Z4 until you look at the face when it has this really sad puppy dog eyes looking at you, but like
just
sad
look at
old.
Sag.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sad and depressed. Eeyore.
See,
It's got the face of Eeyore.
see,
Yeah, it screams into life going past.
it's gonna go slightly off topic, but I feel that the Z4 was also the basis for the new Supra.
The new
I feel
Z4 is,
that
yeah.
yeah, I feel that if they'd have used the 8 series as the basis for the Supra, that would have been such a cool car. Because the
Yeah,
the 8 series is a fucking gorgeous car, but like that with Toyota badges. would be more like an original Supra rather than.
See, I never liked the Mark IV Supra. I love the Mark III. I love the Mark II.
Oh,
Mark
yeah, the Mark
IV
III
is
is gorgeous.
yeah, the Mark III is a real beautiful piece of car. I think the Mark IV is a very ugly thing. I think people really love it because of Fast and Furious and don't want to admit that's why they love it. Um,
Oh, Paul Walker, he's my
the,
best friend.
if you say you don't like the if you, do you know the number of times I've said in my life, oh, I don't like Fast and Furious, and you've had people going, oh, you're disrespecting the dead, and I'm like, that's not how that works. You know that, right? I've genuinely said I don't like the Supra, and people have gone, oh, you're
Yeah.
disrespecting Paul Walker. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, what the fuck?
You disrespecting Fast and Furious for family.
I know.
Vin Diesel's going to come and hunt you down.
Hey, I
I'm
actually
gonna hunt you down.
I love the Fast and
Alex.
Furious films now. You know, I think they're a masterpiece of cinema. They are the only films that still exist on a massive budget, where everyone on board seems to be completely mad.
If they're not dead.
True, very true.
Oh, Paran has chosen the nuclear option again.
We just
What?
why? Why have you dropped the Paul Walker bomb? What's wrong with you?
Well, he didn't drop his foot on the brake pedal hard enough.
He wasn't driving, so
Wasn't he? I thought he was.
no. Do you know what actually killed him? Genuinely, expired tires.
The impact with the tree.
Yes, but do you know what caused the impact with the tree? It was the fact that they bought this Porsche as a Carrera GT from
Yeah, Carrera GT.
yeah, they bought it from a private collection where it'd been sat for something like 10 years, hadn't been used, and then immediately would try to drive it on 10-year-old tires that had completely dry rotted and didn't grip for shit. Which is the same reason why I ended up in a bush backwards, because my tires were also 10 years old and didn't grip for shit. Yeah, so if you listen to this and you have old tires, change them. For God's sake.
Hang on. Does this mean that you're better than Paul Walker because you're not dead?
Oh, no. Yeah, okay.
Not only have you disrespected his death, you have one-upped him. I am living proof.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. All the car people are going to hate this one.
Paran, you evil man, I love you.
Oh, God.
One last ride.
Oh. So, the Subaru B11S.
Oh,
It, yeah.
S stands for silly. In my opinion, silly, stupid, slow to respond to target market. That's my final verdict. Is this is one good looking car, bar the murdered Vara Beauregard. If this was given proper marketing, proper stakehold, proper everything that it needed, it would have sold. It has a market ready for
Yeah,
it, and
absolutely.
it's still somewhat functional now. Because if they did an estate version or a shooting brake, as this is a quad coupe, blah 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 blah, this has still got some gumption now. If you put some LEDs on that and put a fairly sizable infotainment system in there, you could pass that off as new, and that's what I enjoy. It's generic-ish meets a bit of wacky and weird with its 3 litre flat six. It combines the two and can still be somewhat relevant, even well, what nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah. Mm. I much agree on the whole confuse it as target market, because I think if you'd gone for because they wanted it to be sports and luxury from what I can tell with this, and I think if you'd gone either way specifically, you could have gone really well with this. If they'd made this, say, equivalent costs, 2022, if they'd made this 35, 40 grand, back in that, back in 2003, you probably took about what 22 grand, something like that. Manual gearbox, rear wheel drive predominant, but still 4-wheel drive, and give it all that power. That would have sold gangbusters, especially in the States. If they'd made it, a bit more upmarket, and they'd actually put some effort into the interior to make the interior quite a luxury thing, they could have made a really nice sports coupe here that people would have bought instead of your BMWs or whatever, because I think at that stage, when you've got, again, that rally heritage, you can say, oh, well, I've gone for a sportier luxury sort of thing. Because you look at the interior on the Legacy, for example, that is still fairly sort of rugged and uh, cheap.
Agreeable.
Yeah, as opposed to luxury, which and the Legacy still sold really well. So I think if you marketed this, much like you said, similar to the Legacy as the Legacy Coupe or whatever, and just made it as a bit more luxury, a bit more upmarket, a bit more nicely trimmed, and again gone, here you go, it's cheaper than a BMW, but it's faster. Admittedly, not quite as luxury, but it is almost there. You'd have sold it there. So I think they should have focused either one of two ways for that and made it work. But I think that's probably why
Alas, we're here about it.
Hmm. Oh, and Parent, yourself, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's all right. I wouldn't,
So that's it.
I wouldn't.
It's all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out my way to buy one, but if it was 600 quid and sitting in a field somewhere, then I'd snap it up.
I think the problem is we'd all buy something that was in a field for 600 quid. In fact, I'm fairly sure.
I have.
Yeah, I was going to
I
say.
do.
I'm fairly sure both of you have done that.
Yeah,
I need to do that now.
It's true.
I need to go into my nearest field and see what they've got. On a genuine thing, I was looking to buy a house the other day and I found one for sale. It was very derelict, but it did come with a free VW Beetle in the back. I will point out it
Nice.
was basically just a shell, but I was looking at the house going, free project car though. Free project house
But
as
it's a
well.
Beetle.
True. It was also mostly garden at that point, and the house itself was derelict. But it was a 36 grand house, and it did come with a free Beetle.
You could put a. Speaking of Subaru, you could put a Subaru boxer engine in the back of the Beetle.
I thought you were going to say in the house then.
Get motorhome.
I was going to say, Parrot, I don't think you understand how a project home works. It doesn't have wheels.
Wait, you can't put it on axle stands?
You just come to
Not
someone's
I'd be
house.
concerned if you did.
You just come to
the
someone's
fucking
house.
foundations are up
Yeah.
to the floor.
You find someone's house on axle stands on their driveway, and they're like, "Oh, I'll get around to fix it at some point." Like, what? No.
Do you get people? Do you get people knocking on your door to ask if the house is for sale because it's been sat on flats for years?
No.
Like I keep getting at the moment.
Do you actually? Do people keep coming up to you asking about the
Yeah, the Starlet, not the.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
crap.
just arrived.
Should have said that.
I can edit that out.
Yeah,
Actually, no. Why should I? You announced that on your bloody TikTok.
Yeah, but I took the video down, so nobody knows. I've done a Will Smith and wiped it from everyone's memory. But
So I'll put a bleep over it.
yeah, yeah, the one day the Starlet was parked outside, and some people came up in a transit tipper and said, "Is the car for sale, mate?" I was like,
Were they by any chance
"No."
trying to scrap it off?
Probably, but it's not an Alpha 147, so they were barking at the wrong tree.
Hey, my Alpha is still not scrapped yet. That's all I can say about my
Yeah.
Alpha. I don't know what's been happening with it. The guy said he was going to restore it, and he hasn't yet, and that makes me depressed. But I haven't seen it on any part out lists yet. So I've looked for it. I've looked for Alpha 147 braking, and I haven't seen my number plate. So that sparks me with hope. In fact, weirdly,
Until it becomes crushing defeat.
only
Or
one
a
of my cars has
crushing
ever
cube.
been scrapped. Can you guess which one of my cars it is?
The
The
MG.
Alpha.
No, it's the Volvo. The MG, the Peugeot, and the Alpha all still exist. The bloody Volvo.
Wow.
No, yeah, I'm as shocked as you are. In fairness, the Volvo was terrible, but
See, I've only lost one car of mine to the big cube land in the sky, and that was the Daihatsu YRV.
which
Oh.
lives on in one part in your MR2, your boot opener
Yeah,
stand thing.
yeah, it's my bonnet stay.
See,
Oh,
you
big sad.
you mock my car endlessly and say you've got the better MR2, but mine has a bonnet stay attached. Just saying.
Yeah, but you see, mine fell out on the way to Wales via Lentwoodine. But you see, the thing is, because mine's older and the Japanese engineered it after about 20 years, they start lightening themselves because they want to become more race inspired.
Yeah,
they want to become a Lotus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mine does
Simplify and add
Yours
lightness.
that. Mine failed
yours
its
is
MOT
just
today
taking a
because
different approach.
mine failed its MOT today, and because there is well, A, emissions are quite bad in it because of the leaky exhaust, but B, there is a rust hole underneath the driver's foot basically, and I was like, it's not structural, and they were like, oh yeah, but it's close to the subframe, so even though if it's not structural, you got. I'm like, ah, so I need to learn how to
That's not too bad.
weld. Fun.
Get a tractor. It won't be too bad.
I might have to. I think.
Problem solved.
I can't be
Yeah,
bothered.
I lost my very gorgeous pride and joy, my Rogue 75. I lost that to the scrap heap challenge.
Oh, of
Such a
course,
shame.
yeah. I forgot about that. Cause you originally sold that to somebody who then just saw you somewhere else and went, not coming tomorrow now. Bye, didn't it?
In effect, yeah. He tried to really, really lowball me, and I'm like, no. And yeah, I scrapped it instead. I got more money from it, and it needed it because it was ruined. It had already been in an accident prior to me owning it, and I didn't know until I bought it. And it just, no, it wasn't safe for anyone to have anymore. So
Yeah.
off it went.
You had didn't you build a set of seats out of the actual? No, I picked you up a set of seats, didn't I? To build like a coffee table set.
You did indeed.
Yeah, that led me. I when I picked them up, I followed the sat nav and I accidentally scratched every like panel of my dad's truck, because I followed the sat nav down this really narrow woodland path, got stuck down there, had to then escape through a farmer's field, and then drove all the way down to Kent with all of the seats of a Rover 75 somehow folded into the full interior of an Alpha 147. I'm still impressed that I managed that even to this day. That was the first meet I ever had.
It's certainly a feat.
Yeah.
It was. It was. Me, another 147, and Ollie Bungley.
Yes, Ollie and Ryan, who had the
Ryan, that's
diesel
it.
one. Yeah, had the diesel 147. Yeah, that was. God, that's
Right, shall we move on?
Yes, we're reminiscing now. Right, what am I looking at now?
Whole nostalgia. Something that's hideous, yet
Indeed, it is.
hideous.
Weirdly
This is
Sarbish.
the B5 TPH. Very Saab-like, and as we know, Saab and Subaru have had their little fingers intertwined at some stage. They had the 92X, and
Which
they
is
were
hot.
going to make the 96X, which was going to be a Saab, a Tribeca, rebadged as a Saab. And thank God they never did, because no, thank you.
I
It
don't
looked like
know.
a hippo.
It looks better than the bloody Tribeca did.
It does, but from one angle, it does look like a hippopotamus.
This is true. It's also like saying, being stabbed is likely better than being shot.
It's still an insult.
Yeah, it's still.
But
I'd say it's more than a bloody insult. Oh, Will, you're annoying. Bang! I've shot you in the face. That's not an insult. That's murder. That's a crime,
it's true.
Will.
It's correct.
Anyway,
It's
sorry.
factual.
Continue the Subaru, but other way around.
Indeed, the Uberab, blah 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 blah. This is marketed as a stylish coupe wagon crossover. That stresses is not the next Impreza. Thank God it wasn't. This was released in 2005. And I'm glad it stayed there. But at the same time, it's a shame because TPH stands for Turbo Parallel Hybrid. So this is in fact a hybrid, tacked onto the symmetrical four-wheel drive system that Subaru are well known for. But this isn't just a normal hybrid little station wagon come shooting brake thing. Right. You'll remember from the last recording, but I want to see if you can remember.
I remember nothing. I'm letting you know right now. I can't remember anything.
You can't remember shit. Good. So, a cycle of engine. There are different cycles of engine.
Oh,
You have
never
the
mind.
Atkinson cycle.
I remember some of it now. Sorry, continue. You've jogged my
Indeed,
memory.
you have the Atkinson cycle, the Otto cycle, and you have a third one. Can we remember? 21 questions.
Your mum cycle.
Well, it begins with them, so close.
I want to ride my bicycle.
Indeed. Was that a Beatles song?
The Queen.
No. Queen. I don't fucking know. I don't listen to either. I don't like either, honestly. But anyway, let's not go into musical debacles because I will leave. This is a millicycle. So this is a
Millicycle,
flat
is it?
four turbo,
Is that
and
off
yeah, so
the
this is a flat
Impreza?
four turbo. No, actually. So this is flat four turbo with an automatic, but the millicycle was developed by Mazda in the Millennia and the Exodus or Zados. I can't remember the name of it. The Zados 6 and the Zados 9. So in a Miller engine, it improves efficiency by reducing pumping losses. So the power stroke is longer than the compression stroke, which not only makes it more smooth, but more economical. It makes it a bit unresponsive at low speed, so you really have to cane it. But with the hybrid system, it claims that it bumps it back up into sort of equilibrium. And again, it just proves that Subaru were licking and sniffing the Pritt sticks, because why would you put that into something like this? I don't see why you would, but I'm glad they did.
Especially because this was, again, you said 2006?
2005.
2005, sorry. I struggle to remember dates at the best of times. I find it
Hmm.
interesting that they would make, because obviously you had the Prius, you had the Insight. I can't think of any other, you know, hybrids mainstream at this point. So it's interesting that they were trying to at least address that a little bit here with this, and again with a very. This seems to me, again, like we were saying last week, Will, about the VW thingy, XLT. This seems to be more of that kind of actual design philosophy of, hey, let's not just make it a hybrid but a normal car. Let's make it from the ground up to be a bit more dynamic and a bit, because this looks like, obviously I'm not an aerodynamic engineer, so I couldn't speak fluently here, but it looks a lot more aerodynamic than, again, say a Tesla. But the fact that even like the engine they're putting into this, okay, yes, it's a boxer, and boxers are generally a bit, thirsty. The fact they are introducing this rather unused cycle into it to try and actually make it even more efficient, and that is quite interesting to me in terms of an actual project. That seems a lot more involved a thought process, at least. They've actually tried to make a conceited effort to make this at least a proof of concept, bar the product placement, of the actual drivetrain underneath, even if the car on top isn't particularly appealing to look at.
Hmm. No, I can definitely see that. And relating to two previous cars about the legacy, this is actually a legacy underneath. This was a modified legacy platform, um, and would be some variation of the legacy or the Forester. Would have been marketed, sorry, for 2007. Has 256 ponies and 253 pounds-feet of torque, so it would not be a slouch. And with an electric motor, as we know, instant torque, bang, off the line you go. It would be, I think, rather rapid. Um, but it bridges the gap between being different, yet having sort of the generic "I'm here, yet I'm not shouting about it" look. Aside from the skinned alligator that they've used for seats, because that's haunting.
Yeah, I actually quite like that. Yeah, actually, controversially, I kind of like the styling of this. I'm not a huge fan of this boot shape, mostly because it seems quite impractical in reality, because that looks like now it's going to be something you headbutt quite a lot, and it also looks like you're going to end up struggling to actually load things in properly because you can't load it up against the glass and things like that. So that seems like a pain in the neck, and I don't like the way this door cuts out with the bottom thing or the brake lights. But the rest of it, well, admittedly, there was a long list of things I don't like. The rest of it, actually, I think that actually, I mean, the front looks like a Subaru. I think the shape of it overall is quite nice. I think you slightly rework the back and maybe make these exhaust ports a little bit more realistic. I could see that existing and being a car that you see a bit more rare than usual. A bit more of an interesting one that comes out at car shows, for example. But one you go look at and go, ooh, that's actually quite a nice looking thing. I quite like the wheels on it, actually, weirdly. I think they're quite cool looking things.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Alex over here. So, what's your thoughts?
I quite like it. I think it'd make quite a cool ute if you took the back seats out. Like a
Like the old brat.
little, yeah. They could, market it as like a brat rebrand, But yeah, it doesn't, wow me or anything. And that sort of off milk color scheme looks a bit naff, but it's not too bad, it's got charm, just not very much.
It exists in a mild form.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
So
like that one person in your group of friends that just exists and occasionally can be quite fun and
It's
interesting.
me.
But most of the time, no, because you're just annoying.
oh, cheers, Barry.
Welsh. You're the annoying Welsh one in the friendship group.
In fairness, that is usually how I'm marketed.
But yeah, wouldn't same as the last one really. I wouldn't go out my way to buy one, but it's got an appeal to it.
it's that. It's literally that. It's a card that's forgettable. Personally, that would be my final opinion.
I will.
It's
Oh, sorry, go on.
no, it's forgettable. It's again, hearing aid beige with a little splice of green, just to make it that little bit more interesting. And yeah, underneath, very very clever. As it's the same with the B11S and the Estremo. It's different, but not different enough. It could still definitely punch its weight, but if this was reworked to be production ready, I mean, I'd put money down on it because it's clever, yet doesn't make too much of a fuss about it.
What I quite like about this, and I think, again, if they slightly restyled it, I think they would have sold this quite well. Because obviously at the time, people are buying your Priuses and what have you to try and be, oh, look at me, I'm trying to save the environment. This to me comes across as I'm a hybrid, but I'm not trying to shout about it. So I think a lot of people who actually do care about the environment but don't want to make it look like they're dicks about it, because that's where a lot of Priuses got bought by, were wankers. Trying to go, oh, look at me, I'm better than you. This just strikes me as, yeah, I'm just trying to make a better choice. I don't care what you do type thing. I think they could have done that quite well. I think there would have been a market for this. Again, I think you'd have to slightly rework the back end, and obviously in other colours it would probably be better. But yeah, I quite like this. I think the interior is easily the best one we've seen so far because that actually looks like it might be nice to sit in. Certainly a lot nicer than the B11S, which looked horrible. But yeah, no, I think they could have done this. I'm surprised they never did. Again, much like the last one, there is a market. Why did they never cultivate it? Are we ready to move on to the next one, lads?
We
Yes.
are the final gem.
Ooh, hello.
Indeed.
The,
Exactly.
ooh,
So this one
Ooh,
is
wow.
they say leave the best till last. This certainly is for me. This is astonishing. And again, as I've been trying to pilot for this entire episode, it is very, very clever, yet doesn't want to shout about it. And it, mwah, bellissimo.
I don't know. It seems very
It,
shouty in the styling. I'm loving the
it
windscreen.
it looks like they've taken a pair of your glasses, Alex, and made
do,
a windscreen out of them.
do you know what? You know this bottom right hand picture? Do you know what that genuinely looks
Yeah.
like to me? You know when you go to a supermarket and there's a pound coin card that you can put in, you just put a pound in, it rocks back and forth for 5 minutes with your kid to mildly entertain them, and then they get out and then they go, oh, we're done now, and then they go back to like being on their phone. That's what it looks like to me. One of those cars. It's got the exact same
No, I
proportions.
can see that.
But that is a cool looking thing, especially from the back.
Kind of
What?
reminds me of like a Z8 almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like a knockoff version, like a
Wish version.
yeah, or like Just Cause or something like that, where they're trying to clearly have the thing but not have the thing. So what is and come on, what are the impressive tech features we can look forward to in the B9 Scrambler? Which also that's a fucking great name.
Yeah, that is a fantastic. So this again is a hybrid. Excuse me. So this is a 2-liter flat four, which Subaru calls the Sequential Series Hybrid Electric Vehicle, or CHEV. To me, that sounds like shed. So this is now the Subaru shed. Excuse me. It has a 134 horsepower electric motor, which can move the car up to 50 mile an hour. But at that point, a 138 horsepower 2 litre kicks in. Um, Excuse me. It can use to be charged to batteries or under heavy acceleration, like any typical hybrid. But what's interesting, it excuse me, conventional Subaru models would require no modification to install the system. So this was the test bed for the hybrid systems that we could potentially see in like the Subaru XV e-Boxer, the Forester e-Boxer.
Oh,
It
okay.
was sort of the starting mold, the genesis.
That's very interesting. Huh. I like that. That is a very. I like that a lot. I love the interior. That is a gorgeous interior. I really love
And
the way
what's
they done.
funny is this was released alongside the B11S.
Really?
Yep.
So they had. Okay, so you can tell which one they thought was actually going to make production in that case, because.
You really can tell where the money's been poured.
Yeah, but oh god, because this middle thing looks like a jukebox to me. That is a gorgeous looking center console there. Not a huge fan usually of like non-round wheels, but I think that looks really cool. There's not an angle of this. Okay, the headlights are a bit squinty, but other than that, there's not an angle of this I don't like. That is a phenomenal looking thing. How fast was this? Do we know at all, or do they not have that fact?
Unfortunately, it doesn't give me those those figures, but my brain can't do math. It's about 280 horsepower, so it's pretty brisk,
Yeah, it would
I'd
be.
say. It
Yeah,
would at least do 140, 150,
yeah, probably more than that. Maybe 160.
probably easy, no problems.
Not sure I want to do that with no
But
roof, but
what's exactly you'd shake like a crapping dog, and your toupee would definitely be gone. But what's interesting about this, with its technicality side, not only is it a hybrid, but it looks forward with CCD cameras mounted in the windscreen frame,
oh,
and near the rear license plate with a radar system in the front grille. So the car effectively watches the road ahead and behind, warning the driver of fast approaching traffic and flying deer and badgers, etc.
it's a bit like
Um,
the Teslas do
it
now.
was exactly, and this was from 2003. Um, but it also uses a rear view camera, um, red eye guided cruise control, and a lane deviation system. So, like the old Citroen C4, where it would basically turn into Ann Summers when you went over the white line, this had that as well, but in 2003.
Hmm, that's
It was also paired to self leveling air suspension. So you
uh,
had a car that could monitor itself 24/7 and give you the best of everything. It could make a driving experience pleasurable.
is that the Bose suspension? Because I know Bose did that for a while. And it was revolutionary that nobody ever bought into it. Is that what's on this, or is it just a very similar idea?
Similar idea. Think more, excuse me, Range Rover, Land Rover, Range Rover with the airbags, and Porsche Cayenne, Volkswagen Touareg, the airbag suspension. Because with Bose, that was uh, electromagnetic.
Okay, sorry, I know of the Bose system. I didn't know much detail about it, so apologies there. Do you know, as much as I like this, I have to say I can't think of anyone who'd want to buy it.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a bit like I don't know what ones we've looked at in the past, but some of the Saab ones, for example, actually, is perfect comparison. Great car, great tech underneath, really looks good. Nobody would ever buy this though, and that's one of the crying shames about it. Which I guess, obviously, if it's just a test bed, that's obviously why they've done it. They're going to go, hey, look, this is us making a hybrid system that you can plug in and what have you. And this is a really again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier with the Estremo. This is a proof of concept of the actual tech. Look at this awesome thing we've wrapped it in to get you excited about it. Which is an awful shame because I really wish they had made these, or at least some form of it.
Yeah.
That is Cool.
No, definitely. I like this a lot
Mm.
because this is the car you can drive down the Amalfi Coast and not think anything of the world.
Yeah, it looks very Italian, but it would actually work. Apart from the front, I guess, which is
It would function.
the front looks vaguely Japanese, but the rest of it does actually have very Italian kind of styling cues. It's yeah, it is a shame. I like that a lot. And I like the tech. The tech underneath actually sounds all right. It's done its job. It's gotten me interested to go. Yeah, actually, I wish that tech existed. I wish that tech would be used. This is very effective. This is what you should be doing, I guess, with any concept car in particular. But yeah, no, that is a cool bit of kit. Pam, what are your opinions on this?
I don't know. It's
Gobsmacked.
quite a nice. Yeah, I am actually. I'm not as keen on the front, but I don't know. I think that's the sort of Tribeca vibes coming through, and
Yeah.
kind of ruining the front for me. But the rest of the car is gorgeous.
Do you know what I think could have made the front actually work a lot nicer? Which is very contrary to what I said earlier. If you gave it the blob eye headlights, because then it would look it'd look quite cute then, and sort of MR2-esque in that sort of way, where you have this. Like I've always said with the MR2, it's like an anime girl blushing at you when you lock it. This very big-eyed, hello, I'm here, I'm your friend. It's shaped like a friend. There we go. If you give it big blob eye headlights, it'd be shaped like a friend. It's a shame they didn't do that. But
is so is your MR2 a metaphor for how you treat your friends? You shove them in a bush.
I don't like you anymore. Bang! You've not got the right shoes. They're a bit old and crispy.
I've not pushed either of you into a bush yet. We've got all
Not
of
yet.
Scotland to do that.
Oh,
You're
that's a
going
good
off a
point,
cliff.
actually.
I think we've potentially got the fastest car, Will, so we can push him into the bush on the way and get away with it, and no one will see.
But mine is probably also the heaviest car because it's a big lump of
This is true.
gorgeousness.
You've I don't know. I think we have, honestly.
Thing is, though, we don't know what the third car is, so
No.
Yeah. Good point.
we only know what you've got because you wouldn't shut up about it, and you only know what we've got because we'll have to use it for a while. So
I've sat in it.
yeah, it's a great car inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love our car. Our car is fantastic. Oh, I haven't seen our car. I want to point out since we bought it. I've not actually seen it in person. So I'm really hoping Will has like got it for us and it's all good. But I'm very glad we have it now at the very least. I know you're ecstatic to have it back, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I regretted selling it. It's been a big part of my life, and I'm mega glad that I managed to get it back. So I
So
can't moan.
the drive shaft's gone now, isn't it? Is it fixed yet, or is it nearly fixed, or is it what's the deal there?
I've not been able to do anything with it, and I'm not going to be able to do anything with it until Wednesday. So
Understandable, honestly.
it's
I don't blame you. I've been very much in the same boat with the MR2. The MR2 failed its MOT today, and yeah, I've been having a rough time with that. That's been very annoying. In fact, I'm looking at that out the window now and realizing I've parked it on the street. I need to bring it off onto the drive so I don't get told off by Mr. Policeman Officer at some point for going, your car's not got MOT and it's on the road. So yeah, that's fun. Anyway, so final thoughts, lads, on the B9 Scrambler.
I'd buy.
For it or in it?
Say again?
Would you die for it or in it?
Both.
Yeah, okay.
I'd be
no,
on the
that's
roof.
it. There is no roof.
Exactly. I'd sit on the frame like take it out, but no, I would definitely put a lot of money down on one of these. It's Subaru showing that they can do something different because they never did a convertible. Or in this case, it might even be a roadster. I don't think it ever showed any photos of it with a hardtop. But they could have done this quite easily, and they said that the SSHEV system could have been put into any existing model. So this was a useful test bed. It was a good-looking test bed, and it was incredibly clever. Yet was restrained, if that makes sense. It was, any sort of roadster-esque car is going to look striking, but this does it well, and it's not too vulgar. It's not boring. It's not inoffensive. It's
Well,
mwah.
do you want to know something that might be sacrilegious because we all know how much I love Alfa Romeo? I actually kind of prefer this to the Untitled Chapter from a couple of weeks back on the Alpha episode.
Yep.
Especially because the
Yep.
windscreen. I
No.
love that windscreen. That is a gorgeous. I know it's probably not road legal, but that is. Oh. Yeah. I absolutely love this. There's no target market, and the only people who would buy this are us three. But I want.
You know
that.
what? I've just realised something.
What?
You've mentioned Alpha. It kind of reminds me of like an Alpha Spider almost. The front end sort of looks a bit Alpha Spider-ish. Like with the.
This is what I was saying. Is it reminds me a lot of the Untitled Chapter from a few weeks ago, which is sort of a revamped Spider. So yeah, I fully see where you're coming from with that one. But yeah, no, that is stunning. I like that a lot. I would buy that very happily. This is the last car for us now, isn't it, today?
It is indeed.
Which unfortunately brings us to the end of the podcast, and it brings us into a very sad announcement, doesn't it, Will?
It does. I am unfortunately skedaddling. I can't, for personal reasons, do this podcast anymore. I hope you both keep it in very good spirits and good tact because it's been great fun doing it. And I'm going to be upset that I can't do it anymore, but I physically can't. So I've tried to leave on a goodwill, and I think I have because I've left on something that we can all agree on, and that makes me happy. So I'm happy that we've done that.
Indeed, I'm sad you're leaving altogether because we never got the chance to complain about Rover 75s and how much we like them and how much people should like them. But at least Parent also likes the Rover 75, so we can still have that debate. I'll just have to pretend to be you as well. But yes, unfortunately, that is the sad news that we are losing Will, one of our founding members. But Parent, you're sticking around, right?
I suppose. I suppose I can stay.
Thank God. Oh,
Will,
then.
take me with you, please. Please take me with you, Will. Please don't leave me with the Watchman.
End call now. End call.
Help.
So on that,
he's going to tell me about sheep.
You dickhead. on that very sad news, unfortunately, that's the time to end for us. The next episode is going to be a guest episode starring my good friend Dalen Chapman, and we're going to be talking about the Mazda MX-5 various prototypes and concept cars, which should be an interesting one. Especially because we're two MR2 owners, the direct opposite of what the MX-5 is. But
it's going to seem like a bit of a hairdresser's convention, really, isn't it?
It's going to be great. It really is.
We're going to talk about how to dye each other's hair properly and what, and what kind of extensions you use.
I use nothing but extension cables.
I use a Babyliss clipper set. I used to use a Vol one, but
maybe it's Maybelline.
The wall.
No, that's me.
The wall.
A wall one.
All right, I thought you said
WHAL.
I think so. I used to use it, but the war, like some kind of really terrible war happened, and they took out all the clippers.
Yeah, it's like Y2K, but just for hair clippers.
That's all that happened at Y2K, actually. You can forget about my interaction with H from Steps because of Y2K. No, it was just the clippers. All the hair clippers went rogue. That's what they want you to forget. That's actually what happened. Now, I'm not going to make the joke about 9/11 I was going to go for there. That will get us cancelled. Anyway, I don't know where you're listening to this from or what time zone you're in. So good morning, good evening, and good night. And thank you very much for watching. So from me, Alex, goodbye.
Go on, Perrin.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. And from me, Will, goodbye.
Dickhead. Forever.
And from me, Perrin, au revoir.
All right.